When I was younger, I used to think everything was just black or white. It was either good or bad, right or wrong, success or failure. And it took me growing up to understand that there is a very wide space of gray area that exists in almost every single thing. The truth is, life is as simple and as complicated as it is. Sometimes we just want everything to just be this simple cookie cutter answer, and so we force everything into one. But life doesn't just offer one answer. There are many different answers to many different things. There are many different stages, and that brings in the complicated part, the part that you cannot just solve by just blowing out a candle. And in this gray area, we get to see ourselves and we get to see others. And when we're looking at things through the lens of black and white, we're really just seeing everything through our pain and our own experiences and our own traumas, and we're just putting a label on everything. But you've felt this on the receiving end, I'm sure, on many occasions where you feel like your character is being petitioned because of one experience. It's being auctioned, or because of one experience. Like you're being put inside of a box because of an encounter when the full picture would definitely not agree. And when you are on the receiving end of the black and white, you get to understand the gray for when you are on the giving end of the black and white. Because when somebody does something to you, or you feel like you are not seen or heard in a particular space, it's easy for you to look at it through the black and white lens, because you're like, okay, if this was so, then this would happen. And that's valid. Our feelings are all valid. But all of those feelings are coming through our own experiences, our own things that we've been through, things that shaped our perspectives. And it's fair. And when we are on the receiving end, we are being viewed by people who have their own experiences as well. But you get to see the gray a little bit more on that side. And it just really helps to give perspective to look at situations, because we're all imperfect people trying to survive and show up for each other. And it may not look the way that we want it to look at all times, but having that understanding helps you to understand the gray a little bit more. And this is not to excuse bad behavior. It's not to excuse abuse and disrespect. It's not to excuse just basic inconsideration, but it's to give space for the consideration that just does not show up the way that we want. It's to give space for the comfort that does not show up the way that we want. And in return, of course, we would hope for that reciprocation, because that's where the communication happens. That's where the connection happens. That's where the understanding happens. And to get to a place like that is not easy. It takes a lot of self-work. It takes a lot of introspection. It takes a lot of dying to self, a lot of putting away of pride, a lot of putting away of ego. And that's not easy work. It's challenging work, because when you feel justified to see something as black and white, in that particular moment, nothing in you wants to see the gray. I understand it on every single level, but there is no point in missing a moment of connection just because we only are willing to see things through that lens of black and white. People like to classify themselves as, okay, I'm a good person or a bad person, but everybody has good and bad in them. Some people have a little bit more good, some people have a little bit more bad, but it kind of just takes the right circumstances to bring out the version that you're going to get. And sometimes that's just the reality. You know, two things can be true at once. You can be a good person who had a bad moment or a bad interaction with somebody. Vice versa can also be true. You can be a kind person who just has a selfish period. You can be a selfish person who just has a kind period. Like, multiple things can be true at once. And I think that's the next realization that I'm seeing, is that you can be grateful for, say for example, your job and still be drained by it. You can love what you do and be passionate about it and still be overwhelmed by the work that it requires of you. You can be content and living of the life that you have because it's what you prayed for, and still be overwhelmed by it. And a lot of times we just think it has to be one or the other, and so when we experience these combination of emotions, we don't know how to process it. We don't know what to do with it because we expected the moment to just be one thing. I should just be grateful. I should just be content. I should just be satisfied. But two things can be true at once. And that is the gray area. That is the gray space. And it's something that I am understanding a lot more, and I think it's beneficial for us to all understand it because it helps us to see ourselves from different perspectives and to also approach different situations from different perspectives as well. You know, we all like to say we're not perfect when it's us being on the trial, but when it's other people on the trial, we don't put that we're not perfect statement as boldly as we would put it for ourselves. And of course, that can come off as being hypocritical, but it's also a part of the gray. Sometimes we don't even are aware that we're showing up in a certain way until we're put on the trial and we get to see it. And just like I said, everything is not figured out at once. Life is not just a one answer fit all. Like, we could literally be having the same situations and it's just not the same answer that we're both gonna get. Like, everything is just not just like this, you know? We say life is simple and we overcomplicate it. And I believe that it is both simple and complicated. Not everything is just as simple as it looks or seems, and not everything is as complicated as it looks and seems. But they're both happening at the same times. And I think that helps us to free up some weight, to not feel like if we are experiencing multiple different emotions about a particular thing, that means that we have failed. No, you can experience multiple things at once, and that is just understanding the gray area, not just for your benefit or to find excuses, but for your progress, for your peace of mind also, and just to feel a little bit lighter from not carrying the burden of the world on your shoulder. So that's a truth that I'm realizing in this season, and I wanted to come on here and share that with you guys, because as I've grown older, a lot of things are starting to make sense. Not everything is fully clear, but it's becoming clearer. It's just like you're driving down the street, and the further you go, you are able to see around the corner, but you cannot see around the corner from just the starting point. It's the more you go down the discovery road, the more you see the path. And that's a lot of living in the gray, but it's something that is necessary because it's truly required to unlock certain levels of ourselves. So yeah, I hope this was helpful to you today as you're on your journey of investing in you and navigating how you're showing up in your life and in the lives of everybody connected to you. We don't have it all figured out, and I'm sure if you're anything like me, you're making a lot of mistakes along the way, but it's that willingness to get back up and to figure it out and to see where you went wrong. And even if it's hard to accept it publicly, but at least you accept it with yourself and you try to find different ways to move forward until you get to that space where it becomes easier for you to accept. And yeah, as you go about your week, the rest of your week, I just pray and hope that you give yourself grace to get through whatever season you are in right now. If it's just really a hard season and you're just trying to get through that gray area, I hold your hands when I say that it won't be easy, but at the end of it, you'll be better for it. All right. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining the Invest in You fam. To all my loyal subscribers, thank you so much for coming back, and thanks to everybody who has been watching my videos, whether you are a subscriber or not. I really appreciate you guys. But if you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, as I would love to have you a part of the family, and I'm sure whatever I'm sharing will be beneficial for your growth as well. So give this video a like so that you can reach more people, and share it to everybody that you know in your circle who can benefit from this content as well. And comment below, what are 2 truths that you're experiencing right now? I'd love to know. And follow me on all social media platforms at Khrista-Lee. That's Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Let's go make some mistakes. Bye.